Hello everyone, welcome to the Feathered Serpent Devlog for this week. For those of you coming from the other video, welcome. If you don't know what the other video is and you don't know what I'm talking about, I made a video talking about why I chose to delay the Feathered Serpent. Very painful thing to do, but you know what? It is what it is, and if you'd like to know why, you can go check out that video right here. First off, I finished all of the city levels, so I still had a few of them left to do. And I finished them off. I really like how these city levels turned out. They are different from the first three areas because they involve more puzzles, and you can't just blow through the level and hold down the right button. It actually forces you to engage with the level, which is something really cool. It's different. It breaks up how the levels flow and how they work, and I just really like that. Moving on, I actually finished an entire NPC, the giant Quetzalcoatlus bird. This NPC doesn't have a name. It's actually called Giant Burb in my game files. But I finished this entire NPC, the whole storyline, the final cutscene, all of the music. In fact, here is some of that music right now. Alright, moving on. I made and finished every 5th area enemy. Obviously, there's still some polishing that needs to happen and some bugs to work out. But I managed to finish all of those enemies and finish all of the 5th area elements. So let's go over what those are while you see some of that gameplay footage in the background. So the 5th area takes place inside the temple. It has breakable pots, it has obviously different colored chests, and it is filled with plenty of different enemies. The first section of enemies is these bug-like enemies, right? We have these hive flies, we have these hanging sacks that spawn these flies, and we have these other alien-looking, like, they're called reavers. They're kind of these crawling bugs, and they all glow, and their little pustules can be found throughout the level. And the inside of this temple is very dark. There's a light around the player, there's torches that light up the areas, and it's very compact and dense. It is a different experience than the first 4 areas because you have to work your way through these tunnels. There's not a lot of verticality, there's not a lot of openness. So you have to be very careful and very aware of your surroundings. There's also things like fire traps, lava, serpent statues that create ghost serpents that chase you. There's pots that glow red because they have fire ghosts in them. There's so many unique and interesting things that are present and working in these levels. I'm just trying to remember all the other, like, there's pustules that hurt the player. They explode out. They can chain reaction, explode other things. There's spikes. There's rotating buzzsaws. There's a lot going on in the temple area. As for the enemies, we have these Dinosaur cultists that are some of the largest enemy sprites I've ever done. There's these fire cultists that shoot out like flaming serpent heads, and there are these dagger cultists that throw daggers at you and lunge at you. There's armored velociraptors that you can't hit them from the top. You have to be on the same level as them. You have to shoot underneath their armor. There's Dread Rexes that are present in the temple. Just these big Dread Rex enemies that Gorgos, the 4th area boss, was riding on. We have feathered serpents. So we have mini Quetzalcoatluses, mini versions of the final boss that fly around and shoot out these fireballs. We have so many cool and unique enemies in this 5th area, and the setting is so cool, having it be dark, you can't see everything. It's such a cool feeling. It's such a cool area. I'm stoked to have it be the final area. Now, moving on, this whole episode should have been a spoiler warning already, right? This is the 5th area of my game, but if you really don't want the final boss spoiled for you, click off the video now. The final boss, Quetzalcoatl, the Feathered Serpent, here is the first phase of that boss fight. So far, I have 3 attacks. We have a fire laser beam. We have this fire spray where Quetzalcoatl shoots out this bullet hell pattern of fireballs. And we have this lunging bite attack that if you stand on the near platform for too long, Quetzalcoatl will actually charge at you and snap down on you. And let me tell you, this was a very fun very fun boss fight to work on. Obviously, it's still rough around the edges. There are things that, I mean, I need to polish up the sprites, and there's plenty of other attacks that I still need to put in. But I am just loving how the boss fight's turning out. I think it's sick. I love how you can see the boss's serpent body moving in the background. And I love how there's little mini ads that fly out, little mini feathered serpents that fly out that are also in this boss fight. In regards to moving forward with that boss fight, I still need to add in there's going to be a second phase of this boss fight where the ground actually breaks, and Quetzalcoatl has a second attack where he kind of flexes his body and shoots feathers up at you. And I'm working on this other attack where Quetzalcoatl breathes fire on the ground and sets the ground on fire so that the player cannot stand on the ground for a few seconds. And that one is not implemented in yet, but it's getting close. So, honestly, I'm loving it. Super sick boss fight. And that's only phase 1. Phase 2 of the fight will take place in the air. You will explode out of the temple, and the whole boss fight will take place in the air. And that's going to be that's going to be its own challenge to code and figure out, but I'm looking forward to it. That's really it. There's obviously a lot of things that I've been pretty, kind of burnt out, but I've just really been doing nothing but just working nonstop. So I don't actually know if that was everything or if I've forgotten things. I finished Riptide's whole storyline. I don't know if I said that last week or this week. There's plenty of bugs that I fixed, plenty of items that I worked on, but it's not necessarily like I want to go over all those things because there's just so much. But I will show off one fun item because I think it's notable. It's this fish, this ancient fish. When you pick it up, you can swim for the first 10 seconds in every level. And you can just swim over the tops of some levels. Obviously, the 4th area and the 5th area, you wouldn't be able to do that. And it's not necessarily in your best interest to do that because you'll be skipping a lot of gold, and gold gets you items, so it's kind of at your detriment that you skip levels. But it is fun, and it is fun for the first 10 seconds to be swimming around in a level. And so it's a very unique and fun item that I put in my game. And I love these kinds of items. In fact, I've been putting in a lot of fun stuff like that. Like I have like an Aztec death whistle and a time-stopping item and all these fun, unique things that I don't know if I've necessarily showed off, but they're present within my game. So there's a lot of fun stuff like that that I'm stoked to be working on and putting in, but I don't necessarily know if it actually gets talked about or makes it into these devlogs. But to end out and close out this devlog, I think it's cool to look back on these myself and see like where I'm at. Obviously this week sucks because I'm delaying the game and I do just feel like I'm letting people down. But I feel like a weight's been lifted off of me. Moving forward, I can just focus on actually making the game content complete and really good and put the care and the polish into it that it deserves. What has been like working on the game these past 2 weeks, these crazy hours and nonstop. It's been something. It's just, obviously it's been hard, but like I've loved every second of working on my game. It's just all the other things that get left behind, and I go into a lot of detail about that in this video that I plugged earlier. This video where I go over the reasons why I delayed, the Feathered Serpent release. I talk about some of the repercussions of working the way that I was working on the game. But I am stoked moving forward. I'm excited for the new release date, June 4th, for those of you who didn't come from the other video. And I am really looking forward to just polishing out this 5th area and finishing this boss and just making the game that I'm proud of. The game's very much on track to be done well before release, which is what I want, so that I can have time to properly market the game and properly bug test the game and just get everything that needs to be done done. Thank you everyone who continues to watch and support me. I hope that this was a cool devlog to look at, especially those of you who can't catch all the streams and who are just looking forward to know like how the game's looking and what's all going into it. Like I said, this is the final area of the game. Fourth area is 99% done. I'm sure there's polishing things that I can look into, and the fifth area here is about 70 to 80% done. So I'm stoked. It's coming together, everyone. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Later.